Let's start off with the Cavaliers.
Cool.
George, how do you feel about their offseason this summer and their upcoming season this year?
Interesting. Indifferent. Look, JB Bickerstaff was fired before that playoff series ever went final.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell wanted him out of there.
Yep.
You bring in, and we're going to get into all this with a Kenny Atkinson. Shout out Jarrett Allen for getting reunited with Kenny Atkinson, I guess.
Yep.
Like, he did a lot to develop him. He's a developmental coach. I don't know what he can do for a Donovan Mitchell-led locker room. And a lot can come down to, is Darius Garland going to be on this team when they get to the playoffs? So they extended D. Mitch, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. But what happens with that one guard in Darius Garland, who also was banged up last season? Can he get back to 2 years ago where he's averaging 21 points and such a shifty, fast guard that's great in the pick and roll? But also same thing with Mitch, Mobley, and Jarrett Allen all missed a significant amount of time over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, and then you obviously have to include that they lost Marcus Morris as well. I think he was a big part of their team last year as an enforcer, a guy who was on the defensive end that guys don't want to mess with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some guys call him cheap. I say that he's a competitor. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big loss for them, and they're going to have to figure that out. My question about this team is, what's going to be different? Like you said, we're going to get to Kenny Atkinson. I'm getting to him now, right?
Cool, go.
Developmental coach, really good at developing a young team, which tells me that is this team looking to kind of blow it up, you know what I mean, near the deadline if they're not where they want to be. He might be that guy. This team was a really good offensive team last year. There was no question about it. Can they be a good defensive team? I don't know if Kenny Atkinson is the coach for that, right?
Yeah.
So I think the offensive issues that they were having where it was like, we need Donovan Mitchell, that only really came because guys weren't healthy. They didn't really play together. So when it became playoff time, we were like, we got to lean on our star and we'll figure out the rest later. Now with a team that should be healthy for the full season, hopefully, you know what I mean, at least starting the season healthy, will they be able to put together a defensive roster? That's my question. Will this team be together? Will they be able to put together a good defensive output? Will they continue to rely on Donovan Mitchell as their only real option when it comes to the scoring?
And all the talk of is Darius Garland, the guy that's dealt. You bring in Kenny Atkinson. Is he here to develop a Darius Garland? And you give Donovan Mitchell that 3-year, $150 million extension, so you get a better return. You're not trading away a rental piece.
I mean, maybe.
But D. Mitch is a top 20 player in the league.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like DG and Evan Mobley, I asked for both of these dudes right here on this show to show some signs of development.
I love Mobley.
I asked for JB Bickerstaff to bring in guys to help Evan Mobley take that next step, you know what I mean? Because he needs to be an all-star in this league if they want to have a chance of completing the goal what they have. They see themselves as a championship roster, but they haven't put together a championship team because these young guys haven't taken those next steps. So will Kenny Atkinson help? Probably a little bit, but is this team actually a championship roster? As I mentioned to you, I don't think so.
No.
The only guy off the bench that I look at and I say, yeah, this is a good NBA player in today's NBA who I think can help out a championship roster is Caris LeVert. Isaac Okoro is some games he's great, some games he's not. He didn't turn out into the 3-and-D guy that they thought he was going to be.
Yep.
Jacob Gilyard, George Niang, I don't need to speak on that. You know what I mean?
Don't bring it up.
And then it's Tristan Thompson.
Like, why is he still on a roster?
It's Tristan Thompson.
Why is he still on an NBA bench?
That's their bench.
But
and then it's like Amani Bates, you know what I mean? A bunch of other
bucket, but I don't
guys.
know.
Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, I like those guys. They do give minutes, you know what I
Dean
mean?
Wade's
But, does it move the needle? Not really.
I guess you bring in an Atkinson again to develop an Isaac Okoro, get more out of him.
Yeah.
But that's not the needle move that you need. You need elite wings. They need to go out and get that. They have a great scorer in Donovan Mitchell, who I was surprised, and it was from you asking me the question. We're in the newsroom. He had the 3rd highest defensive rating on the team.
Yeah.
Last year.
And he's league average.
Yeah.
League average defensive rating.
If you're getting 30 a night from Donovan Mitchell and you're getting serviceable defense, average defense, awesome. What more do you need out of that 2 spot with the guy that
can you ask?
has so much range and great at finishing around the bucket?
Right.
Evan Mobley, Mid-season arthroscopic knee surgery. Came back in the playoffs, was playing 35 minutes a night. Like, credit to him.
Yep.
Jared Allen didn't play in that series because of his ribs. Donovan Mitchell didn't play the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I need more. I need more from the core. But, again, they bring these guys back, and I'm just, as the East is getting better, like the Sixers got better.
Yeah.
Teams like that, the Bucks with Giannis on a revenge tour, that's better than the Cavs. They were, and they still are.
So do you think this team finishes higher or lower than they did last year in the standings?
Well, they finished 6th.
Yeah, let me double check. Yeah.
I mean, you go Celtics, Knicks, Bucks.
They finished 4th.
They finished 4th.
4th.
76ers. So they're going to finish worse because it's Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, 76ers. I'm going out of order, but those are the 4 best teams.
Okay.
The Magic can finish ahead of them.
They could.
That's a team. You're talking defense?
Yeah, they were in the battle last year. I mean, the Magic probably got better. You know what I mean? Through
so I have them
experience.
just missing the play-in, man. I have them 5th or 6th in the East, so I think they get worse.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we're going to talk about that other team that's floating in the 6th spot, right? You know, in a little bit, but
they're better than the Pacers.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Any bets that you like from this team?
Is that it? Like, yeah. I like Donovan Mitchell. He's a vet.
Yeah.
Is Evan Mobley a vet yet? No. I want more from him, though.
Not vets, bets.
Oh, bet.
I'm like, what?
I don't. The bets on this team, I'm just staying away from them.
Okay.
It's the one thing is maybe if you get like some Darius Garland future.
Yeah.
Like, because he could get traded at the deadline for the team that needs a point guard.
Yeah.
Does Darius Garland end up with our boy in San Antonio? But the return has to be significant for DG, especially if he gets back to like 21 a night.
I mean, this brings me back to the question, like, is this team even going to exist as we know it at the trade deadline?
And that's why I don't want to bet on them at all, because I have no idea who's going to be wearing the Cavaliers champagne red.
Yeah, look, I have to talk about this because this is what I would bet if I was a betting man.
Miss playoffs.
I would bet their overs from game to game because Kenny Atkinson, like I said, development, offensive coach. Darius Garland will see some improvements because of that. Evan Mobley will see some improvements because of that. Max Strus, who averaged 12 points a game, will probably get more into his heat ways where he really becomes like a light-up, knockdown shooter. And we obviously know what D. Mitch can do. So I think this team is going to score a lot of points. And with that, they're going to not be guarding anybody because, like you said, a league average defender in Donovan Mitchell is their 3rd best in defensive rating, which is a problem. So this team is not going to probably guard anybody throughout the first half of the season when they do have this roster together. So I'm probably going to be throwing money at the overs every time.
One thing I give them defensively, like you don't give Mobley 5 years, $224 million if you don't like how his knee is looking after last year's surgery. He missed 32 games. You like what you see there. You give him the bag. And again, they're shelling out this money because like who else are they going to pay? Who's coming to Cleveland? I don't know.
Yeah, me either. me either. I don't know who's coming to Cleveland, man. And my thing about this is this is a team that's been in purgatory, which I like to call when you're good enough to make the playoffs every single year outright, but not good enough to win it all. Yeah. That's what the Cavaliers have been basically since LeBron has left, or since Donovan Mitchell has came. I won't say since LeBron has left because they were terrible when he first left. But now, they're in a place where they're good enough to make it and compete, maybe get Eastern Conference Finals even, but they're not good enough to win it all. So it's time to blow it up. I'm just going to come out and say that right now, George. It's time to blow it up. They should have blown it up before getting rid of JB Bickerstaff.
Yeah.
They should have probably kept him because he's a good coach in this NBA. That's why he got another job immediately. I think Kenny Atkinson is a good coach, but he probably needs a young development team like the Nets that he coached before, and that's what they're about to get. But I don't see the point of re-signing and extending all of these dudes just to blow it up anyways. They probably should have gave them, a little less money and then sent these dudes off because nobody's going to want them when they're, moaning and complaining in a couple of months.
That Mobley contract's really difficult. Like,
Yep.
that's one you'd got to move. 5 years, 224 mil. At least with D. Mitch, you pay him, he shows up. Because if it goes sideways, where they gave him that extension, if it went sideways and he wasn't playing, and then as we've seen, an NBA superstar plays their card,
Yeah.
he gets a leverage, and then they get a BS return, not worthy of, again, a top 20 player in the league, one of the best scorers, one of the best two guards.
Yep.
At least they paid Donovan Mitchell where they left themselves with some room. Can it actually happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
The NBA is such dirty work. It's nasty work by the superstars just doing what they want.
Yep.
But that's what this league has created with its culture of team shifting and player shifting all across the league. At least they have these types of contracts that are movable because they're not rentals, they're actual buys. That Mobley one, though, that's tough. 5 years, 224 mil for a guy that's a good defender.
It is. It is definitely tough.